the last piece I uploaded, like right when I uploaded that, I started working pretty much just like full time. So I have like a year now since I started working, and like I can
And
show nothing.
the
It's
it,
super outdated.
I call it the NDA hole.
Yeah,
Like
it
you go
is.
down into the NDA hole and then no one ever sees you ever again, you know?
Oh man, it's terrible. Like I really want to show people the stuff that I've been doing, especially because it's like a lot of like production work that's like super, 3D modeling and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I can't show it, so hopefully I can one day. I'll show it
Um,
to you in private later on if you want.
yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. Here's the thing. I think you should be working on personal projects nights and weekends. Like, I know that's like a big ask, but like if you have the capacity for it, like I really think you should, because like if you've been working professionally a lot and like especially with like new work methods and tools and stuff, um, the I'll tell you, I've been in situations where I'm theoretically not allowed to show anything from like 4 years at a time because of NDAs. Like if the project doesn't come out, like theoretically everything that you've done during that time is just going into a hole and it's never coming out again. So like in order to maintain like a sort of professional relevancy, as well as to like, share your work with people and like continue to be in people's eyes, like you like basically have to work nights and weekends on your own stuff. Thankfully though, like you just get to make whatever you feel like, and you get to make the coolest possible idea you can come up with no concern whatsoever for whether or not it serves the project you're on. Like it's a time of experiment, and like it gives you the ability to like just really be playful with your work. So it shouldn't be like an extra job. It should really be like a time of celebration. And I don't know. I see so much fun in your work. I think that I think you would be able to do that, unless you like have a lot going on. Like
I'm right now. I'm like really, really busy with work. Especially since you start working 9 to 5, and you have to like go to the gym and like go out with your friends usually at nights and weekends.
But you're not coming
like,
home and
going out with
taking
my
care
friends.
of like a family member who has like a terminal illness or anything. Okay.
No,
When I say
absolutely
like,
not. So I still
do you have a
like,
lot
couple
going
hours
on? It's
straight.
like, are you having to relocate countries because of a major family crisis? Are is somebody else's major medical needs impacting your ability to work? Things like that. Like, I don't ever want to like speak callously about, just put more time into it, because there's plenty of occasions where I'm talking to somebody where that is their situation. You are just wanting to have some downtime from work, which is fine. I'm just saying, like, I think that you having some personal project time is the potential to be downtime, as so long as it's not butting up against, taking your wife to chemo or whatever. It's like if you're like, I may not be able to go out for drinks as much because I'll be home drawing. I'm like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, no, I really try to make myself go out with friends sometimes, because you really are like focused in art, and you're all doing like art all the time. So I think I was going through like a really like bad emotional mood time when I started working full time, because I never had time to go out with friends. So I just started going out more with friends, but I stopped like doing personal work. You know what I mean? So
I think there's a way of balancing it, and like, you should be taking care of your health, go to the gym, all that kind of stuff. It's just figure out a point in the day where you can set aside an hour or two on a regular basis to make it like a serious thing, because like living in that NDA hole is potentially like really hazardous. Like I know plenty of people who they're growing like crazy. They're like they're building a following. They get like one job and then it's like lights out for like 2 or 3 years, and then they come back and they're like, what did I do? Where did I go? I have nothing to show for it. Like, what happened? And I'm not saying that's the situation you're going to be in, but it's the situation that plenty of people find themselves in. So like, just, make sure that you are always producing things that you love and that you own. It will serve you in the long run. It's a long-term investment, to do that kind of shit.
It absolutely is, man.
Do you have anything you want to ask me about your work? Like, what's on your mind related to it in relation to art and stuff?
So as I can't show you like the new stuff just yet,
Yeah.
at least publicly, I would just like to, hear what you think about, the stuff that I've done. What do you think about my render capabilities, my design capabilities? I can't show you much more production stuff, but I really like to. But
You're a
I
good
just like,
designer, and in your rendering's good too. I don't know. What do you want to know?
I don't know anything. Any tips you want to give me, man? Any insight is amazing, and especially because I've been a huge fan of you, man, since like forever.
Well, thank you.
You're a legend. You're a hero, right? I'm meeting my hero right now.
All
So
right.
anything you have to say, it's freaking awesome.
This is one of those situations where it's just like, you're doing something that's like different than what I would make, and I think you're doing a great job with it. I don't see anything that's like, I have like a bunch of like prepared complaints about people's art that I see all the time, that I always complain about, and I don't see it here. I mean, it's like, I'm sure if we were to like, it's just one of those things where if we were to hang out a bunch and I were to know you and your art more, I might have some insight, but as far as snap judgment goes, I don't see anything that's like jumping out at me that's like a serious issue for like, it's like if you wanted to try to impress the pants off of somebody who is like super famous in the entertainment industry, maybe like the rendering on this is a little light, but like honestly I don't care, and like for the purpose of working in a professional environment, I don't think you would ever need to go further than this. So I'm always kind of annoyed that like the standard feels like to take things to like this kind of hyper real finish.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who it's for, other than it's like part of a kind of professional circle jerk where everyone's trying to one up each other. You in some of these you're going a little further on it. Like with this guy, you've got this smoother, shinier rendering technique. It looks like you're working differently. Like you're working with your line art differently. Your rendering process is different. It's like it's not like it's necessarily better or worse. It just feels like a different style with different intent to me. But I mean I like this look, like because I think it sidesteps some of that hyper real like desire to see things rendered to hyper real, just because it's rendered in a stylized way that is brings a lot of smoothness out, for all this hard surface stuff. So if you were to keep working like this and you were to clean up like some of the realism on your lighting just a little bit, like you would sidestep all that annoying like nitpicking that someone might give you on trying to render this style more deeply.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, like it might not even be a matter of like, hey, let's just assume you're going to take what you're currently doing and go 20% further with it, because sidestepping into a different work process for a different style is also entirely valid and may end up negating all that criticism in the beginning. So it really has to do with like what your overall intent is with the work. Some of the artists I know that are like top designers working for the biggest projects do not go much further than like flat colors with a little bit of shading. If you can keep the process to make it look like it is an intentional stylization, to keep things generally flat the way you have here with like the really flat colors with the spot highlights, it nicely sidesteps that like sense of finish issue by just like, again, moving into a style that everything feels like it's there on purpose. And yeah, so it feels like you have a few different styles that you're trying to finish things in.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have like that line art because I really love doing line art. I fucking like I could spend hours just working on line art, right?
Okay.
But I also have tried to develop my rendering like way further, and that's what I've usually been doing nowadays, but I can't freaking show it because I'm at the NDA.
Oh, okay. Right?
Well, but I do have two types of finishing stuff, which one is for like, something that takes a little more time to create, something that's going to be, we have to explore textures, we have to explore lighting or how some sort of surface is going to look. So usually I spend more time in that. But when my art director is like, hey, we need this simple asset to be put in like this level we're doing super quick, I don't even bother with rendering, honestly.
Yeah, you just do flats. And then
Exactly.
I'm just talking about portfolio because it's like portfolio is a different world because it's not actually being used
Oh,
for
yeah.
anything in particular. It's for proving a point. It's like you're having an argument with somebody, like, you know, who's good at this, and, you know, what can I do? And it's like you're having a bit of you're trying to make a convincing argument rather than actually trying to like be useful. So it's like, you know, I think that if there's a style you have for creating a rendered look that allows you to still maintain your focus on line art, like, I would do it. Just because, like, if you're able to accomplish everything you want as a designer in line art, then the shortest path you have to being able to, like, put that forward in a way that feels tight and finished is the best possible solution. Because you should just be spending the majority of your time focused on your strengths and building up your strengths rather than worrying about being good at every single sub-discipline that's like adjacent to what you're already doing. Like, it seems like, you know, if you need to paint the hell out of something, you can, but like the balance in your portfolio leans so far away from like painted landscapes and towards like stylized characters with like a stylized finish that I wouldn't get too up in your own head about doing a ton of painting. I don't think it's that big of an asset for you. You know, it feels like it potentially could be a huge distraction that keeps you away from, like, because if you're going to spend a bunch of time, nights and weekends, like I'm saying, building portfolio pieces, I don't think you should be building portfolio pieces that represent the things that you're worst at. I think you should be making portfolio pieces that represent what you're best at. And that means awesome line art, stylized characters, you know, cool IP ideas, and then like finishing it with a really simplistic color style that allows you to show off cool color palettes, pieces that feel totally finished, but without you having to spend, you know, all of the time that you should be, you know, chilling out after work, like rendering the hell out of something for no client.
Yeah, man. That's great advice, actually. Sometimes I just like set up that bar high, you know, like, oh, I want to make this look insane, right?
Yeah.
But I do remember the days when I was just like a student, and I think the first 2 years of just drawing, I never even touched values. I just did like pure perspective and anatomy and structure. So I'm in love with the process of just creating line art and just simple colors and simple values. But I'm so used to like trying to push so hard on how something can look really cool and really finished that I set that bar so high that even if I'm working on personal projects, I get distracted.
Yeah, and it's going to stand in the way of you doing these personal projects and doing the part that's like most fun. Like, if I'm going to ask you to work nights and weekends on personal stuff, I don't mean for you to like put yourself like and start, you know, setting aside a time to like flagellate yourself and like, you know, punish yourself for being bad at like painting clouds or whatever. It's like the point is for you to be spending time taking your ideas that have been running through your head that you're excited about and building them out as big and as boldly as possible in like the shortest possible route without getting sidetracked on a bunch of dumb bullshit that's like a sort of side interest or like a matter of like, you know, proving something to someone. I just want you to be like showing the world like what is the thing that you love doing the most and what you're best at, and like building a ton more of that so that you can populate your art station with it and your social media and all that, and be able to like get attention and respect from it that you're going to be able to use to pivot into future jobs and like any other commercial opportunities you have as an artist. Because like the opportunities you're going to have in the future are more likely to come from personal projects than they are from you sharing portfolio work from past commercial work. Like in most cases, even with artists that are fully committed to like studio work, it is like personal projects that get them their next studio job rather than their like work from their previous studio. Like in some cases, it's like from networking. Like, I mean, anybody who you're working with now who knows what you're able to do based off of your professional, you know, your studio work, that can add up. But like, if you're going to be starting to work with somebody new, and there's no connections at all, like their interest in you is going to come from your personal projects. even if you have the stuff that's sliding out of NDA, I swear to you, it's like it almost always comes back to personal projects when it comes to impressing people. So like, don't let that go just because you've got a good thing going right now. This is like a time to double down on your personal work. And I think you make it a priority and you start to really like fall in love with the time you're spending doing it, you are going to produce more of it nights and weekends while you're employed than you did back when you were unemployed. I've known plenty of people that like opened up a sort of new wing on their career as like a nights and weekends thing while they had a full-time job and like family and kids and all that. And they ended up producing more personal work during a time when they had less time, just because of like how much more meaningful it was when they no longer had the pressure of like it being their primary thing for work and for money. And so I think that you're in that opportunity right now if you want to take advantage of it.
Absolutely, man. I will.
All right,
Thank
great.
you so much for the advice, Peter.
No,
I'll send
you.
you some stuff that I've done that I can't publicly show. So you can
I always like seeing art, so I'm open to it, but maybe you should stop saying that in public, that you're breaking NDA.
Nobody heard anything. Nobody said
It
anything.
says live on Twitch right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Peter.
Yeah, thank you for coming up.